Hi, my name is Scott. I'm from the Economics Tutoring Center, and today I'm going to be graphing two demand curves at different prices and incomes. So please just make sure to check whatever I do with your professor because my notation may vary. So to start, we have this equation, and it gives the quantity demanded of good A. That's what this represents. And it's a function of the price of good A, the price of another good B, and the consumer's income level. So the problem, if we want to graph this, we can't graph something in 2 dimensions when we have 4 variables. We can only use 2 variables. So what we have to do is fix, if we want quantity demanded of good A as a function of the price of good A, we have to fix the price level of good B and the income level. So to start, we'll say the price of B equals 2 and income equals 45,000. Now we can put those in to this equation to get a function just of the price of good A. And to do that, we have quantity demanded of good A equals 600 as usual, minus 20 times the price of A, that stays like it is, minus 5 times, now the price of B is 2, and then plus 0.01 times our income of 45,000. If you put these terms in your calculator and combine them, because they're all just a constant, you get the quantity demanded of good A equals 1,040 minus 20 times the price of good A. And so now we can graph this because we just have 2 variables. So I'll rewrite this one. It looks like this. We have quantity demanded of good A on the x-axis, price of good A on the y-axis. Then we have a y-intercept of 1,040 and a slope of negative 20, whatever that might look like with the units. That's our demand curve for that specific price level of good B and that specific income level. Then we might want to say, what happens to quantity demanded if income goes up? So now, this was one case. Now let's say the price level of good B equals $2 still. So that didn't change. But now income, let's say it increases by 10,000, so now it's 55,000. So we can do something similar to before. So we take this equation, PA is still a variable, we don't know what that is. We just plug in 2 for PB. Now we put in 55,000 for I. And then if we combine all the constant terms, we get a new equation. If you need a refresher on how to do that, just backtrack in the video to when I did it with income equals 45,000. But now we get 1,140 minus 20 times the price of A. And this one, so you'll notice here, it's similar to this equation, except this y-intercept went up by $100. And the reason that happened is our income went up by 10,000, because before it was 45,000, now it's 55,000. And the slope on this income variable in the original equation is 0.01. And 0.01 times 10,000 gives us this $100 upward shift. So if we were to graph that on this graph, and I'll graph it in blue so we remember which one's which. So or not. We'll graph it in black. We have 1140 now as our y-intercept, but it has the same slope of minus 20. So it's parallel to this first equation. So if we call this equation 2, and this is equation 1, then we have this is demand curve 2, and demand curve 1 is this one. And now we might want to ask, okay, for a given level of, for a given price level of good A, what happens to quantity demanded when income increases by 10,000? So let's say this is our fixed price level of good A. If income is 45,000, then we use demand curve 1, and we get this Q1 as the quantity demanded of good A. But now if income increases to 55,000, but the price of A stays the same, then we keep going over to demand curve 2, and we get this Q2, which is greater than Q1. What that tells us is, as income increases, the quantity of demanded of good A increases as well. And that's what's called a normal good. So from this, we've determined that good A is a normal good. And we can see that actually in the original equation, because the coefficient on this income variable is positive, which just means there's a positive relationship between income and quantity demanded of good A. So that's all I have today on graphing two different demand curves with income effects. I hope it helped, and if you have any questions, come to the tutoring center.